A bamboo forest at night. The sound of dancing is heard. Resembling a parasol, but in truth a monstrous bird. Be wary of its figure and its vibrant hue. For once its collar opens, a rain of blood will ensue.
Monster Hunters and Monster Honeys, it's your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself, Douglas and Digheads. We finally are here with our first serious fight. Why do I say it's our first serious fight? Every fight hasn't been serious up until this point? No. This is the first serious one. I'm hesitant to call it a gatekeeper because the real gatekeeper is definitely next. But here's an eye-opener. Definitely an eye-opener. Although the monsters you fought up until this point were relatively... I would say, hey guys, watch out for one attack and then just hit it when it doesn't hit you. This monster actually has a lot of flair with its attacks, against its attacks, and everything else. Acne is what I'm going to call it because I can't really pronounce the actual name. But Acne is a very, very interesting monster to fight, a very tricky monster to fight, very clever. There's lots of things that it can do that will probably mix you up, throw you off, and honestly, cart you. He does have a particular combo where if he lands it properly, you will cart. Almost instantly. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it does a large amount of damage, so you really want to watch out for it. He likes to, not super often, but we'll go over the attacks that he can do, but the one that you should really look out for is his head slam. He will take the feathers on his head, his crest fuel, and then he'll widen it open like a big fan or like an umbrella, then he'll slam it on the ground. When he does this, it has, I don't even know what the heck we call this particular state, but it has, let's call it a sliding knockdown. Yeah, that's literally a term. That's a literal fighting game term. When you get hit with this attack, it puts you in a sliding knockdown state. What does that mean? It means you slide pretty far. You'll know when it happens, because you'll be like, yo, what the heck is it? No monster has had this particular ability to put you in a state like this before, so you know it off the rip. It puts you in a sliding knockdown, and then you're knocked down, you're on the ground, susceptible to any follow-up attack. Thing is, after the sliding knockdown, he'll jump and slam his head into you again. This attack is very damaging. I'm telling you about this attack now because you should totally watch out for it. Do not play around with this attack. It hurts a lot. I've been fighting with friends and we've been carted to it quite a few number of times because, well, it's that damaging. If you are put in this state, I'm pretty sure you can wire fall out of it. So if you get hit with the sliding knockdown, wire fall out of it, because if you stay in that particular state, he'll probably follow up with the combo attack, and then you may or may not cart, but you'll take big damage nonetheless. I'm telling you this now because it's super important. I don't want you guys to cart. Next, let's talk about everything else he can do because it's a freaking doozy. Okay, so he is a fire-based monster. He can shoot fireballs. Now, mind you, these fireballs, they aren't particularly dangerous. You're not going to be like, oh man, there's fire everywhere and I can't do anything because he's shooting the fire all the time. They kind of get through you a bone with this one. He'll throw the fire out, not often, but he'll throw the fire out, and what it's really meant to do is just limit your mobility options in this particular point in time. Most monsters, when they shoot fire in terms of flames, fireballs, and whatever, like direct fireballs. If you guys ever play Street Fighter V, Dalsim shoots fireballs akin to this. They aren't potentially super dangerous, but they're there to make you think. They're there to cut off particular avenues that you would usually have. So he'll lay them all across the ground on the floor. You've probably already seen him doing in the video. Thread the needle, go in. He doesn't do it very often. I've only probably ever seen him do it like maybe up to 3 times a hunt. Not a huge deal. He does like to dance on his one leg. Now, if you've been listening to either the villagers talk about it or whatever, they always talk about how this monster dances on one leg or whatever. He'll do that. He'll do a dance on one leg, and he'll do a sweeping attack when he finishes his little dance. These aren't too terrible attacks to really watch out for, but they're notable nonetheless because they can do a bit of damage. I always forget how long it takes for this attack to come out because I always think I can attack while he's doing it, or I have time to block after my attack, or I don't have time to block. Should I attack again? Should I dodge? Just be careful for it. It's not super dangerous, but the fact that it's delayed can throw you off. Timing in these next couple of fights, yes, I'm foreshadowing more events. Timing these next couple of fights is going to be not hard to do, but going to be something you should really look into trying to time yourself properly so that way you don't catch fat L's. There's a few other attacks that he has, and the one that I'm thinking off the top of my head is the one he'll do whenever he's kind of hovering in the air, like he'll fly, if you will, in the air. Then he'll do a swooping attack. Those are kind of difficult to dodge, just slightly ambiguous. He will throw them into a mix where he'll do, let's say, the dancing on one leg thing. He'll do the swoop attack like that. Then he'll immediately take flight and then swoop in the other direction. These are things that he'll do. It's not super often he'll do it. He'll usually dabble between those and maybe the sliding on the ground thing with his forehead floating everywhere or whatever. These attacks, they're not incredible attacks. They're just things you should probably look for as well, because again, it's more things that he can do, because he himself is a pretty off the wall kind of odd monster. A lot of his attacks don't make sense, because nothing you fought at this point so far has had attacks that have wildly varied in the way in which they actually do them. He's the first one, so that's why I'm trying to get you guys well acquainted with everything that he can do and as many notable attacks as possible, because you'll see some things you're like, whoa, I didn't know he could do that, or I didn't know that was even a thing, because he's a nut butter. This monster is actually crazy. So I think with the majority of his attacks and everything out of the way, I think it's safe. I feel comfortable with everything I told you guys, that I think it's safe now to talk about his gear. Yeah, let's do that, because it's actually pretty nice. So Acne's armor is actually pretty solid. Honestly, it's good. It's gonna be really good coming up very soon. I highly recommend going to the very next fight wearing this armor more than I can really recommend anything else, because of this one attack right here. Well, skill fire attack 3. It gives you an extra 5% of the attack for fire, an additional 4 points. So what that means is it gives you 4 points of fire attack flat, and then an additional 5% of the total fire attack. Okay, I don't think it's the total fire attack. I think it's the 5% of what's already, let's say your fire attack is 10. 5% of whatever 10 is, which is like, I don't know, like 1 or something, or 2, and then the additional 4. So you get an additional 6 fire attack, and so on. That's kind of how that goes. It's a very weird way in which they did this particular thing, but that's how it works. Now you have quick sheath. Quick sheath speeds up your weapon sheathing ever so slightly. I mean, you don't notice it a whole lot, honestly, because on level 1, you really notice it once it gets to level 2. Recovery speed, which we talked about briefly before, double the speed in which the red health actually recovers to green health again. It's nice, but the real bread and butter you want is this right here. Why? The next monster, I'm just gonna be flat out, the next monster is very weak to fire. So you're gonna want to bring his weapons and this armor set. Again, I can't show you guys his weapons. They're very beautiful, I should say, very beautiful weapons. Just note that almost all of his weapons have like 100 attack, a sizable amount of green sharpness, and about 15 fire, 12 to 15 fire. So they're very good. This is now when weapons start to become good, just actually good. Before you could just kind of use whatever. Now we're getting to the realm where elements are going to start taking place, and they're going to be a lot more serious. The hunts are going to be a lot harder, so you're going to really want to start matching elemental weaknesses. And whenever you can find yourself a very good elemental weapon like Acne's weapons, you're going to want to get as many of them as you can. If you main multiple weapons, it's probably a good idea to run multiple Acne weapons, because they're just so freaking good. So as it stands, the armor is solid. I don't know if you should keep it forever, but it's probably going to be the best armor that you're going to have for at least 3 monsters. I'm foreshadowing so much stuff right now. Someone in a comment before told me to, hey Dak, you know, do a little foreshadowing. I'm obviously paraphrasing, but at least give you guys a heads up on what's coming into the next fight, of course, if you guys have followed along through the fights as I'm making them. So you're going to want to make this armor. Make it. Make the armor. If you're not going to make it for the long run, make it for the very next monster fight. You're going to want to make its weapons. Make it. If you don't want to make it just for the sake of making it, you should totally make it for the sake of the very next monster fight you're going to have coming up, because it's going to be a doozy. It might be a longer video, because it's worth it, trust me. Okay, so let's wrap it up as always. So Acne is a very interesting monster. It has a lot of crazy attacks. A lot of his attacks are very wild. They're very zany. You'll see them like, dude, he's really doing it in this particular fashion. They're very arc sweeping. They have huge hitboxes. He's a bird wyvern that I personally have not had the likes of fighting akin to this before. However, the big thing you should seriously note for is whenever he does a head slam that puts you in a sliding knockdown. If he puts you in that sliding knockdown state, he'll probably follow up with a repeat attack, and that attack, the one where for whatever reason just seems to hurt a lot more. You do not want to get hit twice with this attack. Odds are you're probably going to cart. Nevertheless, he does actually shoot fire. The fire isn't too notable. They are fireballs. I think they actually have bouncing properties, so they don't just land on the ground. For the most part, they're there to just dissuade you from moving a whole lot more. But at the end of the day, I have confidence that you guys will be able to take care of him because he's not super difficult. He's just weird. You may lose your first try. Don't worry. He's one of the ones that's going to take you a time or two, but he's not impossible. He's not a giant wall. He's just a cog or a wrench in the cog, if you will. But I don't think I've made it noted, but I'm pretty sure it's easy to see. His main weakness is water, and you have to hit him in the head. We don't have water, so just hit him in the head. Nevertheless, guys, it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself, and as always, Discord shilling time. I have to shill. I'm sorry, guys, I have to shill. Discord, if you want to like hang out with your mans, hunt with your boy, kick it with some people, Discord will be in the link in the description. Also, if you want to do another thing, i.e. follow me on Twitter. I love Twitter. You can keep up with everything I'm doing, what videos we're going to be dropping, what time we're going to be streaming, and so on, and extra info about me and whatnot. Twitter's where you're going to want to find me at. That will be in the description as well. But with that being said, everyone, it's been your man Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. And with that being said, may the Desire Sensor forever be in your favor.